Today we're going to take a deep dive into some trading, and we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a handful of altcoins. You guys don't want to miss it. We have a special trader for you. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into TechPath. I want to thank our sponsor today, and that is Tangem, the self-custody titan. You should be checking out Tangem. Go over to their website, tangem.com. If you want to start your own self-custody, you can do this through their hardware wallet, which is a card. It works with an app, very slick, very secure, and also very easy. So make sure and check it out. They've got a great offer over there. If you use our code, you can get some additional off, and you can get a 3-card set. It's the only way to go. You have that extra backup. So start your self-custody journey now. Hey, listen, we had this trader on about a week or 2 weeks ago. Everybody liked it, so I thought, let's bring him back. So Mariano from the Trading Parrot, if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go over there and check it out. He does a good job on breaking down some things, and I want to welcome him into the show today. How's it going, Mariano?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, so we had some good times on a variety of tokens the last time you and I had a chance to talk, some of which actually did fairly well. So the trade calls were pretty good. I want to go into a couple of notes real quick. Bitcoin, of course, after the Bitcoin conference, we also saw a little bit of Grayscale's Mini-Me Trust launching today with 1.7 billion in kind of a low fee here. So we may see more inflows coming for Bitcoin. When you look at Bitcoin right now, Mariano, what is your current position on Bitcoin? Is this a position where you think we're going to see an uptrend, or is this potentially going further down?
Let me share my screen for that. So I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. I think the last time I was in the channel was on the 10th of July, I believe. So we were somewhere around this top in here, and we were talking about the formation of this typical megaphone pattern that we usually see at this time in the market. This green line that you see vertical here is the halving. And typically at these points in the time in the market, that is the pattern most commonly seen. Sometimes a little bit after, sometimes within the halving, and sometimes before the halving. In this case, it's right on time with the halving, if you can see there. And what I've been looking for is for the potential for a breakout from the top of the megaphone pattern in a similar way that we have done in the past. So it's a matter not of whether we're going to break out. There's high chances of a breakout, but the question I'm right now trying to answer, and as I see the price action, I start getting more confident now, but potentially we need to still pay attention with anything that could fail here. So far, it seems like we're going for the plan A, which is this white arrow that you see there. We touched the top for a third time, and we're coming back into the bull market support band, consisting in the 21 weekly simple moving average and the EMA as well. And we seem to be bouncing on top of this. So this is giving me not the 100% confidence of, obviously, this is a trade. And, as a trader, I always use risk management. But so far, it's looking good for a second attempt to try to hit the 70K, that if we do it again, it's going to be slightly lower. It's going to be a 69K. So if we break that 69K and we get above it, we're possibly going to ignite a short squeeze at these highs that we are seeing here. The other thing that has me really excited is to see that so far on the 4-hour time frame, we haven't broken the structure. So we keep seeing higher highs and higher lows. And even with the latest retracement that we saw right after the speech of Trump, with this sell-off, it's still not as big as people are trying to exaggerate, because I still see it holding on a higher low. So until the point I don't see a break below 64, 63K, I will still be with the hope looking at this pattern for that potential plan A. If we were later in the week to sell off for some reason, then we could potentially come below the bull market support band at 62. And then potentially we will have to start looking into plan B. And some of the reasons I could see that happening, I got 2 strong reasons contradicting the potential for the upside. First, we have this CME large gap here at the low 60s. And we know that CME gaps tend to get filled. For example, the last two that we have here, one there and one there, got filled pretty quickly, just in a couple of days. But we have this one pending there. And the second thing that is concerning me is the ratio of deposits of large holders into exchanges right now. And we could argue and have a long conversation of where are they coming from. We have empty GOGs, we have now the government of US. And the problem is getting it to a ratio of 2. So for each deposit, for each withdrawal, there's 2 deposits. And that ratio is very similar to what the one we have at the top at 73.5. So that is a little bit concerning. But until we don't see the structure broken in here, I trust the TA more than anything else.
Okay. Well, I like the position because I think it's high conviction in terms of where the market is and could be going, especially around Bitcoin. That being the case, you look at Bitcoin trading against Ethereum, a couple of things have happened. BlackRock now had more inflows on ETH than Bitcoin, ironic. But this is something that could really start to initiate some movement on Ethereum. Do you like Ethereum in its current position, or do you feel like it's set for a breakout?
In practice, with Ethereum, I have a quite large position relative to how much I have of Bitcoin at the moment. And the reason for that is that at the beginning of the year, I saw a breakout of the Ethereum BTC pair on the weekly. Since then, we have managed to hold the breakout and start to form a channel to the upside. I have drawn this just to give an idea of what I'm expecting to see. Whenever we see the momentum shifting in one direction and we continue to see the price action going in the opposite direction, that's technically divergences. In this case, they're bullish divergences that are consecutive on the weekly time frame. And one of the things that we saw last week was this retest at an RSI of 40, which perfectly matches with our low trend line. So this is poised for a potential push explosive to the upside. We can see similar effect that happened in the previous bull market around here. So I'm quite excited about Ethereum, and I'm taking it easy with patience. I know a lot of people are kind of flipping into Solana at the moment, but I'm steady there with strong hands on Ethereum, just by this.
All right, Mariano, so I like your play on Ethereum. I do look at this, a lot of people being a little bit more, not very patient. Always looking at Ethereum going to the next level. But hey, listen, these are digital assets, so you have to kind of consider that. One thing you can't be a patient about, and that is the movement that the SEC is making. Right now, the SEC, and many of you guys know about the claim on 10 tokens that were during the Binance suit, that's been dropped. And the SEC has kind of said, hey, we're out on this. And many of those most likely will see a relisting. XRP is the one I want to focus on. It's been moving very significantly. When you look at XRP right now, what does your chart show for XRP, especially over maybe on the near future and then possibly long term?
On XRP is quite interesting. We have an explosive now move recently. This was around the 9th of July that we have this explosive move. We made it to an RSI of 78. That's pretty high. Yeah. But since we got there, I started giving a word of caution in my Twitter, started saying that there's just too many longs. This tends to happen quite often with XRP, that we see if this moves to the top of the range, too many longs, and they tend to get wrecked constantly. We know how long XRP has been going sideways. It seems like it's been around the 0.5, 0.4, 0.6, constantly going up and down. And at 0.62, I call out for a local top there. And what I'm seeing here is that we built a bullish flag, and we are having a second breakout to the upside from the top of the range. But I have still some words of concern in here. First of all, the RSI has broken down and is starting to print lower highs. So those are bearish divergences on the daily. I'm not worried about necessarily the future of XRP. I'm just worried for the short term. This is a daily chart, and the fact that we have just the top range of longs currently in positions speculating for another explosive move. And I typically, as a swing trader, I prefer not to enter with this level of risk, particularly. You can also see the cross-fit ratio getting into the red. That typically signifies that we are very close to another local top. I prefer to look for a healthy pullback into an area of new consolidation. So, for example, when we managed to get to 0.62, then we started seeing the price reacting very positively to this area of support. That will have been a great entry at 0.56. So what I'm looking for right now is another retracement, take some of this longs away from the equation, and then see that that risk reduces, and then I could enter. Now, looking at the weekly, it looks impressive, right? We have a breakout, multiple weeks being held by this trend line with an explosive move. So for those of you that are not yet in a position, what I will look for the weekly is to come for a retest of the breakout. Let me show this in larger screen. So for example, if we have the weekly breakout in here, I will wait for the weekly to come back for a retest on the trend line of the weekly RSI. That is an RSI of 47. And if we look for that in the price with this tool called the RSI, then we can see that is located pretty much at 0.51. So it will be still very healthy, considered very healthy for the price to come back to 0.51 for a final retest and then continuation to the upside.
Right. So one of the things that's happening right now with Ripple, this is a leak photo showing, I don't know if this is accurate, but it is showing an SEC office meeting potential. And if you look at the schedule, this is actually supposed to be happening on August 1st. So if that closed meeting is a settlement with Ripple, very possibly we could see just kind of an immediate market, response. I know that sometimes sentiment, kind of flushes out a lot of the trading analytics, especially from a TA side. So that will be one to watch. Other things that are kind of brewing right now are projects like Avalanche. This was a tweet coming in from Mark Cuban. This is huge for crypto. He's talking about people holding tokens will have an app with the Avalanche wallet. This is talking about California, who has basically went into their DMV, and now you can be able to get your automotive documents available on the Avalanche ecosystem. This is pretty big because it could open up in a lot of states here in the United States. Securitize kind of verified this right here. Congrats to our partners AVAX on fixing a real world problem. This is what we talk about here on the channel all the time. And they're talking about the same things, solving real world problems. With that being the case, you look at Avalanche today and where it's been trading over the last, really over the last several weeks, a little bit on the sideways side of things. Where do you see AVAX going?
Well, AVAX has been punished quite hard, I have to say, among all the other coins that we've been talking about recently, like Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, and Ethereum. Probably AVAX is one of the ones most punished. And recently, it must have been really frustrating for traders because we have this massive breakout in here from a range of 25 all the way to almost 70, just to see it faking out back inside the range and then losing the support once again. So this is really painful. Probably I'm a holder of AVAX as well. I'm just holding for long term, and I'm gonna wait until we see an actual bull market move. But at the moment, it's at the low of the range. It's getting very close to the highs of the bear market. Yep. So it's really, really, really punished. It has seen a drawdown of almost 66%. That's quite high. So I think at the moment, if we look at the weekly on the AVAX, we need to wait here to see what happens against this trend line in here. Of course, if tomorrow we hear some other good things, sorry, I wanna cut that last bit.
Okay.
So I think at the moment on the weekly, we are starting to put higher lows and higher highs and approaching this resistance that we see in here on the weekly. Just a fair comparison, if we look at Solana on a similar chart, we already see that it has broken out. For example, on the weekly, we see this effect there. Even on Bitcoin, we see the breakout already happening and now a retest. But on AVAX, we are far away still from the trend line, which means that we are early. And if there are good news for AVAX, there's a lot of extra room to go to the upside. But there's been plenty of investors that as soon as there's something negative, they are selling harder than the other assets that we are talking about today.
Yeah, I think that has been one of the issues with avalanches, that there hasn't been a lot of consistency in terms of the way that they're rolling out news and information. Because as you know, the crypto investors, they really feature a lot of their trading habits all around these news cycles, which has been, we've seen it around Solana. Obviously, Ethereum has kind of sucked up a lot of the wind just because of what's been happening, with the ETFs. So I'm still looking at this. A lot of movement right now, though, in the Solana ecosystem. I'm just showing the DeFi Llama chart here on fees and total value locked. You can see a lot of movement again, but still not completely near what we're looking in terms of fees. And I'll kind of zoom in on this for you guys. You can kind of see a little bit here. But the point being is that the fees were actually back here much higher than they are right now. So whether or not we start to see this come back into a position, we could see Solana continue for another run plus 200. What is your position right now with Solana as it starts to move around in these high 170, 180 ranges?
Well, Solana has been doing an impressive move from the bottom. It has held the lower range really nicely compared to all the other coins. Most of the other coins have broken below this range and put new lows, whereas Solana just is fighting really strong to hold them. And every time we get to here, we do another push to the highs. But my perception is that these highs are not getting broken just in anticipation of a potential bearish move of Bitcoin. People are being cautious with what's going on with Bitcoin before they commit to get into a new higher range for Solana. And today, for example, with Bitcoin going below around 65K, that is causing people to sell at this top. So what I want to see now with Solana is that we print a candle and we hold right above this high of the 19th of May, which is around 185. So if we were to print a candle and hold about above 185, that will be extremely bullish for Solana. Now, looking at the RSI, I'm starting to have a bit of concerns in this area, and that's natural because we went above the top of the range and then we came back inside. That is telling the RSI that we have broken down. So there's a bit of weakness on the daily time frame for this. If you are a holder, I am a holder of Solana. This doesn't mean I'm selling. This is just if I was in a swing trade from the bottom of the range and I was seeing momentum loss, I will take potentially partial profits, part out of the equation, just to hedge a bit of the risk of being at this top and potentially seeing later this week any bearish move on Bitcoin. Okay. You never know.
Yeah, right. No, I think that, well, and those are good trading habits. It's also a good strategy. A couple other points when you look at Polygon, this is one that has been getting a lot of news right here, and that, of course, is Polymarket. I want to go to this piece right here. Now up over $1 billion right now in terms of trading volume on Polymarket, which continues to push on Polygon. And of course, we know the poll token getting ready to happen. Timing is pretty intriguing right here because this all comes down on September 4th. You have timing here with the political thing, a lot of betting activities on predictive markets. Could this push Polygon into a new sweet spot for Polygon holders? What is your position right now in Matic?
Well, Matic on the weekly is having a bullish breakout, so I'm quite excited about this. This clearly reflects what's going on with the fundamentals at the moment. And if we look back in time, breakouts of the weekly like this tend to have big significant moves to the upside. Just to show as an example.
Yeah, we're gonna get your chart. Yeah, it's all right. You can pick it up right there, where you were starting the Matic piece. Yeah, go ahead.
Solana is Matic is currently having a breakout on the weekly. I can see here on the RSI that this is reflecting potentially what's going on with the fundamentals of Matic. If we go back in time, similar moves on the weekly, breakouts like this, lead typically to significant push higher in price. Just to give you as an example, this breakout from here took Matic 150% higher. So I'm quite excited about this breakout. Now, looking at the daily, just to kind of micro tune that entry, I think we are still at the lows here. So this is a low area of risk if those fundamentals can sustain for a potential to sustain the weekly breakout to higher levels as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Well, I think timing here is going to be pretty good for Polygon and what we're going to see with Matic and obviously the token swap. So I'm looking forward, watching this one along with some of the other blue chips out there as well. Listen, Mariano, it's been great having you on again. Always fun to have you on analyzing some of the tokens. If you guys want to check Mariano's channel out there, go to Trading Parrot over on YouTube and over at thetradingparrot.com. You can learn more about what he's doing. Thanks again for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul. See you next time.
You bet. All right, so you guys, if you're not in on the Diamond Circle, make sure and jump in. That's our own private group. We have a community over there where you can talk to other people in the Diamond Circle. Myself, I'm always in there chatting. So feel free to join. It's the link down below. And of course, if you guys want to follow me out there on Twitter, X, it's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.